So in this video I want to show you how I wired up this Book Nook, but this time show you how I did the lighting with it using an Arduino, which is a lot cheaper than that Unihiker. Alright, so let's show you the various different parts of this while it's doing something. So you can just see through there I've got an LED in that bit, and this bit of the window and the bottom bit of the window all join up in the model. So I've got an LED that comes across there. Definitely got dawn starting now. Let's show you that for a few moments. Now it's coming to a much brighter light. This is the camera stopping down now, so quite hard to record all the different colours. So I think we're just at about noon now. Then as the day carries on, it will begin to go to a blue as it gets to the evening and to dusk. And then there's some other different lights that come on, so we'll see that in a couple of minutes. I'll fast forward this so that you're not waiting all that time. So it's getting into the late afternoon, and in the back there I've got the flickering LED. Not sure whether you can make that out. So that flickering LED at the back, that's to show a forge or a candle light in that window back there, and that's just tied into one of the Arduino pins. And likewise there's another LED at the top here, and then there's this other LED here. So you see all these different LEDs are doing different things at different times. So it's getting right to moonlight now. Okay, so we can see that flickering light there. I think we might get a purple light somewhere. There we go, a little purple light just in that back shop at the end. Hopefully at the end of this we'll be rewarded by a bit of lightning, but the lightning happens on a random loop, so it doesn't always do lightning, and then there's a random number of flashes or gaps between the flashes, so you're never quite sure whether you're going to get lightning or not. Alright, so I don't know whether that was showing the recording, but there's quite a few flashes of lightning there. Right, let's just open this up and I'll show you how I've wired it at the back. I actually taped this shut with masking tape because I knew at some point I'd have to be taking this apart again. Alright, so the easiest and most obvious thing is that Neopixel ring there that sits at the top. And when I take this in, I've got another little board on here, and this board has got all of the other wiring on. Alright, so in here there's just an Arduino. Very cheap little Arduino Nano clone, but I have got this extra little board on here which just gives me little wiring terminals for everything. So you can see really everything happens on this back board. So we've got four different LEDs, 1, 2, 3, 4 up there. I forgot to put 4 in, and then these blue wires, I've done a lot longer wire on that, which takes me to this wire that comes down the side, which goes to these big windows on the front. So it's quite easy to set these up. Oh, and look, even done a little plug, so I can unplug that and I can unplug that, and we can just look at that there. So the Neopixel strip plugged into the power supply there from the top, and then it takes its data from pin 2 down there, and then the other pins are just directly wired in. I don't actually think I've even used a resistor for these, so I've just connected all these together, and that does the bulk of the effect. So that's how I set it up. I'll get this put together again and then we can look at the code. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to leave this on in the background. So let's look at the code. So I based this code off this tutorial for fading between colours. So this is on the Arduino forums. So I've just grabbed that. That did the fade. In my recent video that you can see here about the Unihiker, I actually wrote my own fade command, not actually that difficult. Let's just have a look at the code here. So we're using the Neopixel library by Adafruit. That was lightning just at cue there. And define pin 2. So you remember when I showed you the Arduino out, the Neopixel went from data 2. So this I used when I was doing my testing. And I've got different pins there to do things. So although these turn on and off, I could use these for other effects. I'm not actually using them. So I've got candles, 2 different candles. I've got purple, and I've got my fire LED, which is my one out of my LED tea light. You can watch a video about those here. So that defines the pins, and then here are the colour arrays. Now I store this in a different way in Arduino. I've just got these colours just defined in their own arrays. Each of these, it's saying it's an array of 3 things, because this is C, I think, that we're writing in now. I think it's C. Tell me below if I'm wrong in Arduino. What's Arduino code use? Whatever this is. So yeah, I'm defining all of these, go through these one by one. So first of all, I've set the initial colours. So I've got wait and I've got hold. We're waiting for something to happen before I do the fade. So it just means that a colour hangs around a bit before it transforms into the next one. We've got previous values there. We've got a loop count and also a repeat counter. What you see there, how many times you repeat it. If we do 0, it just does it all the time. In the setup, Arduino codes have a setup bit. So first of all, I define all the pins that are controlling the LEDs. So each of those pins are all set to output. So I'm not reading from them, I'm just sending data to them, or just sending on and off to them really. And then I initialize the strip. So here's the main program. All I'm doing on this is I first of all make sure that the fire's turned off. I make sure everything's black, so the loop begins at complete darkness. If a number between 1 and 10 is greater than 5, then run lightning. So I don't always run lightning. I run lightning half the time, maybe a little bit less than half the time. I run that, and the lightning just fired there. That was quite good fun. So I've got a separate command for lightning, and then I've got this crossfade code. So if we just go down and look at the crossfade, this is all the stuff that's out of this crossfader tutorial here. So there's nothing really that I want to explain about that. You can read that tutorial, I'll link to it below if you're interested. But I'm just calling a crossfade there, as it's got, calling that with a particular colour. So it takes whatever the current colour is and fades to that. So every time I call this colour, it just moves. So on this one, there's no events. There's nothing externally jumps to a bit in the loop. This just runs through this loop continually. So these crossfades are quite simple. I just go through all of them. As we're going through it, as we get to dusk, for instance, as it begins to get dark, then I'll turn the candle on. Downstairs, I'll turn the candle on. Upstairs, then I'll turn the one downstairs as they go to bed. I'll turn that off. Maybe I'll turn this fire on as well so that they're warm, and that's really what's going on there. I've got that other pin for the purple LED that comes on there, and that's all it's doing. So really simple the way that we go through that. We're just turning that digital right is just turning that pin on, so turning the LED on. It's as simple as that. All the work's being done in this crossfade. Now the lightning one, this lightning bit there, I've got a little bit of that. Just a little bit of output there, so when it goes to the lightning, it just says, right, we're not having lightning to begin with, and we've got this strange bit here that just waits a little bit to check whether we're firing diagnostics. If you want to send stuff out to the serial ports, it just goes through that, waits a little bit. That's all it does there. Let's have a look at the lightning code as well. So again, we're doing random, 5 in 10 chance, but if it calls that, I still don't definitely say there's lightning. So first of all, I wait for a random amount of time. After it then, for a random amount of times, it sets the colour to bright white and then sets the colour back to 0. So it just flashes it just for an instant, like lightning is just for an instant there. And it might do that several times, but you see, it won't always flash it either. There's another random wait. So I'm trying to get a real randomness to the lightning, as lightning is. So sometimes you might just get one single shot of lightning, or you might get several. It might or might not happen. There might be a gap between them. Lots of different bits in there. After the lightning's finished, it goes back to black again, just to make sure. That's really how I did this. There's not really a lot going on in it. The code is quite simple. All I did was define the colours for it, and then I changed the LEDs to go up and down. I'd love to see what you could do with this. I'm going to post this onto my GitHub after this video goes live. If you want to use it, you can. You'll be able to see the wiring for the LEDs just by working out what I've done here at the top. These candles and the purple, so those are the LEDs that I actually use that you've seen in this. See what you can do with it. See whether you can use that. If you've done this with an Arduino, link below to the way that you've lit up your Book Nook. These things are really lovely, and I think they're wasted by not putting decent lighting in them. Alright, hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see some more, maybe some more stuff about LEDs, maybe some stuff about crafting, maybe stuff about scratch building or miniature painting, please subscribe, because I don't know what I'm going to do next. Bye.